Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. So tonight I'm bringing up a very new topic that I have not spoken on with this group, and it was based on a comment that Veronica, our very own Veronica, uh, put in a post on Facebook, and I was like, that would be a great topic to bring up because it really does impact and influence our lives, and many times we don't even really know what's going on. And what I'm talking about are energy cords or communication cords. And so an energy cord is like a grounding cord, except it connects two people together. So a grounding cord is a line of energy that leaves the base of your spine at your first chakra and goes down deep into the center of the earth. And it's via this grounding cord that we're able to release unwanted and stagnant energy from our physical body. But it communicates, it transmits, it allows energy to move across it. A communication cord or an energy cord goes between two different people. And so that energy and information travel from one person to the other. And I'm going to tell you, everybody has energy cords, some people more than others, but they happen, they form. The classic example of the function of an energy cord or a communication cord that they give is the line of communication that happens between a mother and an infant child. And so the baby is wet and they're in the middle of the night and they're kind of tossing and turning in bed. And for some unknown reason, the mother wakes up and goes and checks on the baby and finds out that they're wet. And so that is the classic example. And I have to tell you, I was like, okay, it really didn't mean much to me. But my first dog, her name was Kiko. She was another poodle. She was very political. I would have put her picture up, but I didn't get that far. But she was an older dog, and she was a special needs dog. She didn't see real good, and she was having a hard time holding it through the night. And so I started kenneling her at night. And what I found was, okay, I can be a very hard sleeper and I can go to bed, at whatever time, fall asleep, and the next thing I know, it's morning. That was how I used to sleep. But for some reason, I would wake up in the middle of the night and she would be fussing in her kennel, and I would take her out so that she could go do her business. And I was like, wow, that's how those energy cords work. But we can have energy cords between friends. We can have energy cords between foes. The more intimate the relationship is, the more dynamics that happen between the individuals. You can have more cords, or the cords can get bigger so that more information can be transmitted one to the other. So one of my husbands, I have several stories using him as an example tonight. So one of my husbands, it was really interesting because I would be sitting there and it would be 2:00 in the afternoon and I would think, we should barbecue tonight. And he would come home and go, well, we should barbecue tonight. And so it would start this whole dialogue like, well, what time did you first start thinking about having barbecue? Because we were trying to figure out who was the person who had the thought first, and then who is the person that picked up the thought and kind of went with it, whatever. But what was interesting, taking the story to the next level, so that was a positive use of energy cords. When you have close relationships, it's like you feel like you can read each other's mind because you know what the answer is before they even say anything. But probably it's because of these energy cords. But when the relationship is good, when there's good vibes happening, they're great. But when things change, they can be a little bit more challenging. Same guy, we're getting divorced. And I, for some reason, start thinking about him. And I'm like, man. Well, I won't even use I won't even use the foul language that is wanting to come out of my mouth. But it would be really bad, and it would take me into this very negative state. And then one day I was like, duh, you're probably corded. And so I started this process of whenever he would come into my space of pulling cords. Because if there's communication between the two of you, the cords can be reestablished. Or if you're thinking about the other person, the cord can be reestablished. A different story. I have worked with a number of clients who are ending a relationship. And so and you're in that weepy place and you need support. And so one of the things that I often will do is do a session where I pull the communication cords from them. And I always caveat the session with, you will hear from that person within 3 days, whether it's a phone call or a text, or they'll stop by or something, but within 3 days. And that has been confirmed multiple times, because now that that line of communication is gone, they feel that void, not on a conscious level, on a very subconscious level, on an energetic level. And they're looking to reconnect and reattach to you, even though you don't want them to. And so I suggest, if they reach out to you, don't respond. Just let it just sit and lie wherever it's going to be, because they're just trying to reconnect the communication cords. Okay. Okay. All right, I already talked about that. But as I was saying, cords are not a conscious construction. People don't sit there and go, I'm sending an energy cord to you, and and I'm doing this. I mean, it is a very natural but unintentional act that happens between people. But what I have found is that when the dynamics between the two people become more challenging, that's a nice way to say it, more challenging, they can be a little bit manipulative, especially if you're the more sensitive person, because they can try to take over and overwhelm your space. Thus, my ex getting into my space and leaving me in a place of rumination and, having to be mindful of what was going on and pushing him back out. I had a client once who was in a relationship with this woman, and he wanted me to do some energy work, but he did not want me to remove the cords. This was interesting, that were going into his girlfriend. But I do what spirit wants me to do. And I just kept getting this very bad vibe from these cords that were going into his girlfriend, and they felt very controlling and manipulative. And my feeling was, if the cords are supposed to be there, if it's something that they want, then they can be recreated, because it's not, they just happen. And so I pulled the cords, and he got so pissed off at me that, he really didn't speak to me for a very long time. And I told him, I said, they were very controlling. They were very manipulative. I felt like he was using them to surveil her, which I thought was really kind of creepy. And she didn't want them. So, oops. But one of the biggest things about cords is that they can be removed. Okay. And you can get them out of your body. Now, if you look online, there are a lot of people that advocate cutting cords, and they suggest to you to imagine that you have a pair of scissors in your hand, and you find a cord, and I'm going to talk about this here in a second, and you take the scissor and you cut the cord. I do not advocate cutting cords at all. Cutting is a violent act to me, because this is an energetic projection that is coming from them. So now you just severed it in a very hostile kind of way. And cords that go into you have roots, so it's not that it just goes to the surface of your skin. I mean, they penetrate in. And I mean, sometimes people have cords that are big and long and giant size and anchored in with bolts. And I mean, I've seen all kinds of configurations. And so what I recommend is that people pull the cord, kind of like pulling a weed in your yard. You can chop the top of the plant off, but what's going to happen? It's going to grow back. So when you cut them, you leave a remnant of that other person in you. When you pull them, you are taking all of that out and hopefully throwing it into a garbage can over there, energetically speaking. So before I wrap this thing up, I just want to explain very quickly, and you all can try this while I'm talking about it, how to find and clear a cord. And so cords are kind of like string, and they can be very fine like yarn, but they can be bigger, this big. And so what I would like to suggest is rub your hands together, and take your dominant hand and just kind of move it along your body and look for an area where you maybe feel some sensation or some discomfort. Sometimes you can actually feel the cord, like you can feel this circular thing there. So like I'm feeling one right here, and I am just going to take and wrap my hand around it and just pull it out. And sometimes a lot of the times, you can actually feel the end of it pop out. We don't ever just have one cord. Again, sometimes you can have 3 or 4 cords. Sometimes the cords can go into your chakras. Sometimes they can go into parts of your body. If you felt like you've been stabbed in the back, usually that's an energy cord that's hit you, and so you might pay a little attention to that. I have seen people that have been so corded that, or in a very specific way, that it almost looked like they had a crown of thorns. Like they feel like people are always picking their brain, and it's because they have all of these multiple lines of energy going into their head. That's a very interesting dynamic. And so I would love for you, if you feel like cords are impacting you, to play around with this exercise and try pulling them out and notice how you feel. Notice if you detect a shift in you. And if you're not detecting the shift, if you can identify, like, so let's say, all right, Veronica, I'm going to pick on you. So let's say I want to pull out all of the cords that are from Veronica into my space. And I just kind of tune in and I go, okay, well, all right, Veronica, no offense, but I'm feeling one right here. And so I'm just going to go and pull it out and let it go. Okay, so Veronica's hearing this, so this doesn't really count. But if you sit there and let's say you find 4 or 5 cords from this individual and you pull them out, and then you get a call from them later that day, the next day, unexpectedly, then you did a good job. Validate it, own it, that you cleared the cords and now they are trying to reconnect with you. And if you need help in having cords cleared, again, you can always reach out to me at soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com, and you can schedule a private consultation with me. And we can do some energy work and get you cord free. Like that. Okay. Also, this show is brought to you by the Institute of Applied Energetics. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. That if learning how to pull cords or do intuitive work, being a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner, that is something that interests you, please check out my online training program at appliedenergeticsinstitute.com and download my free 50-page guide, Jumpstart Your Intuition, that has lots of exercises for you to use to start developing your own abilities today. And for anybody that is watching this show in a rerun form and you would like to join the group and get a free on-air psychic reading, the best way to do that is to go to my YouTube channel. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. 3 words, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Click on the live link at 7 p.m. Central every Thursday evening and join the fun. Okay, now I'm going to change over to here and we're going to let the games begin. And I'm just going to remind you guys, if you are communicating with me, please type in all caps. If you're just visiting with each other, lowercase, mixed case, I don't know, because there tends to be a lot of conversation and it's hard to kind of keep things moving if I'm reading through chit chat between all of you. And I want you guys to talk. And if you guys have a topic idea that you would like for me to cover, please toss that at me, and I would love to do that. Okay, let's get started. All right, the first one in the heat is Master Player. Hey, Master Player, and he would like evening and number 2, please, and thank you. You're so welcome. Okay, Master Player. All right, and that's your card for today. So Master Player, all right, so I'm kind of in a weird mood tonight, so just forgive that in advance. And so I'm hoping that I'm not just reflecting myself here, but I'm kind of feeling like you're in a kind of weird space yourself. And I feel like you are wanting whatever this funk energy is that you are in. And I'm not feeling like there's anything specific, like there's not this happened and now I feel this way. I feel like there's a lot of contributing factors that have put you in this place, but you're just ready for it to shift and for it to break. And sometimes when we're in this place, we just have to ride it out and just be kind and nurturing to ourselves. So Master Player, be kind and nurturing to yourself, okay? I haven't really checked in on the energy on the planet, but I don't know. Maybe that's something that I need to do. But I have not done that in this moment, and I'm not going to do it right this second. Okay. Unar. Happy Eve, everyone. Tomorrow is my birthday. Happy birthday! I'll be old. May I have you pick a number, Dr. Rita? Unar, you're going to get a 1 because 1 is the luckiest number. Actually, it's the loneliest number, but it's the lowest number. It's because you can't be old. All right, that's your card for today. So Unar, I feel like, I'm just really wondering if there's like not just me being kind of cranky, but if there's just this energy going on that's leaving everybody a little cranky. Unar, I'm not feeling cranky about you as much. I'm feeling like you really want to get a vacation in. I feel like you want to rest. I feel like you keep seeing these things that need to happen, but you really don't want to do them. So maybe you should rest. Maybe you should listen to that, and it'll give you a chance to regroup your energy so that you can move forward in a good place next week. Okay? All right. And then Christine, she says, hello, may I have a reading number 2, please? And thank you. You sure can. Uh-oh, Christine. Okay. I'm going to go with this. Okay, so there was that. So only want two cards. I'm feeling like that's the clearing card for you. Um, so Christine, I feel like the situation that's going on where your energy is blocked or not moving has taken you out of, and I'm going to say it this way, I hope this makes sense, kind of out of your heart space. I feel like your energy is more in resonance with the other people, the other person. Um, I feel like it's wanting to be lifted back up so that you can be whole and who you are. I'm feeling like, in addition, there's a lesson in there for you to learn, especially about matching other people's energy. I mean, it might not be that you can fix it all in this one time, but becoming more mindful about how you've gotten knocked out of your space and how your energy is now in resonance, like what I was talking about, I think last week, with the people around you. And sometimes just by noticing and acknowledging, it allows you to bring your energy back up into the present moment. So, good job. All right, ERRT Radio. Happy Thursday, Dr. Rita. It is hot and humid here in Minnesota again. ERRT Radio. I'm in Texas. It's hot and humid here every all the time. And the air conditioner in my car is broken, and it's not fun at all. All right, so may I have a reading number 3, please? Thank you. And your hair looks amazing. Thank you. I got it done yesterday. How come when you go get your hair done, it always looks so freaking cute, and then you get home and you try to replicate it? Never, ever, ever. All right, ERRT, what do you got going on? All right, that's your card. Interesting. So ERRT Radio, what the word that is coming up for me for you is surrender. I mean, it's interesting because most of these images are about like fighting and competition and battle and stuff like that. And I feel like for you, it's like you're done. You don't really want to deal with that anymore, and you just want peace. You just want inner peace. And so the way to get that is for you to surrender. And so I feel like you're surrendering. How's that? I mean, I feel like you're not digging the other part. And so, no, I feel like you're starting to be like, whatever. And to me, whatever is surrendering and just allowing what is going to be to be. All right, Karen. Hi, Dr. Rita. Hope you had a good week. May I please have a reading number 2? Thank you. You sure can, Karen. All right, there you go, Karen. So, Karen, I feel like you have made a tentative decision on an issue. I don't know what the issue is, and are ready to move forward with it. Um, I do not feel like you have moved forward with it, or the moving forward is in the very, very early stages. But I feel like the decision has been made and you are, committed to this journey. Um, I feel like there's a little bit of nervousness tied to it, but for the most part, I feel like you're feeling like it's a good choice and a good decision, and I'm not detecting anything bad or negative tied to it. So, yay. Guys, and as always, if what I'm saying to you makes sense, especially on a day like today where I'm kind of cranky, I would really appreciate the feedback always. Hi, Veronica. So I hope you like the topic today. I'm really looking forward to hearing your comment. Uh, Hi, Karen. She says, hi, everyone. It's almost Friday. Yay! Veronica says, would love a reading number 1. You sure can, Veronica. Okay. And that's your card for today. Interesting. This card's already come up once. So, Veronica, I'm just feeling like you're really ready to get out of Dodge. I know that you had your health thing come up and you've been a little bit housebound. I must be getting the impression that you've been released and you can step outside. I feel like you're really ready to do that. And again, and I saw this before, kind of with a whole new attitude moving forward. And I'm really curious to watch how this new attitude, this new energy, this new confidence in yourself, more certainty, and this is who I am, and this is what I want, and this is where I'm going to be, moves forward. Very curious. And then she says, I bet you look marvelous, darling. Thank you. Yvonne says, hi, everybody. Dr. Rita, looking great as always. Can I get a reading number 2? You sure can, Yvonne. Okay. You. Actually, this is not a terrible card. It just looks terrible. So Yvonne, this is really interesting. I feel like I feel like you have to pick a road, make a choice, do this stuff because you're supposed to. But there is another choice. You don't have to. And I feel like this other choice is there, but it's outside of your viewpoint of things. How do I want to explain this? So I had a friend who I'm going to assume we haven't spoken in a really long time, has a job that, she kind of loved the job. She loved what she did. She loved the money that she made at this job. But it was a really, really, really toxic environment. Even though there were only 4 people there, it was toxic. And she seemed so unhappy, and she would just bitch and moan and complain about this job over and over and over and over again. And I said, well, you have another choice. You can quit. But she couldn't value her happiness over how much money she made. And she was old enough to retire, so it wasn't, I don't know. But she couldn't even conceptualize that there was a different choice in front of her and that maybe her life could be happier if she made this other choice. And so I'm feeling for you, Yvonne, that there's this choice in front of you and you're feeling like that's what you have to do or that's what you need to do, but I'm not feeling it for you. and that there's another choice that you can make that's going to leave you feeling better and happier. Long drawn out. Hope that makes sense. Want to hear below. All right. So Amy says, hi, Dr. Rita. Sorry, but cranky day was yesterday. You missed it. Well, I'm just trying to think what happened yesterday. See, yesterday I kind of took the day off, because I just wasn't feeling it. Today, yesterday wasn't a whole lot better. This morning started with, I got some touch-up paint that had to be color matched to my house, but the tester thing was in a satin, and the house is painted in a flat. So I got the same formula in a flat, and it totally didn't match. And this was after 2 weeks of trying to color match, and just freaking kill me. 8 o'clock in the morning. And I really didn't get a whole lot better after that. But it is what it is. I'm taking tomorrow off. Anyway, all right, let's see. Amy's back. She says, may I have a reading number 2, please? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. Ooh, Amy. And that card was on the bottom of the deck before. All right, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so Amy, you kind of got a lot of cards. And I feel like this was your clearing card. But what's interesting, so things that came up as I'm picking these, but I'm like, but not clearing, just commentary, is that there is stuff going on, and I'm going to say in your psyche, not as much in your world, but going on more inside of you and how you're interacting with this world that needs to be cut out. I feel like there's a big nurturing aspect that needs to come and fill that spot. And some choices of, okay, so let me kind of combine this all into the end result here. Okay, now I totally lost my train of thought. I'm going to go back here. I feel like that it's something that right now, okay, now I got the line. I got it. Okay, Amy. So what I'm feeling is that there's some deeper integration about you going on inside of you. I feel like, and I don't know if there's an awareness of this, that there's some aspect of yourself that, I don't know, maybe you're not so happy with, or a behavior or whatever, that you're looking to move out, or you're wanting to move into this higher level, but the only way to do that is to stop doing this. I feel like the energy that you're bringing in, or that you're wanting to bring in, is more unity, more authenticity, more congruence. I'm going to say in your heart. That's where I'm feeling it. I feel like there's some confusion around how to do that. And what they're saying is, Amy, just breathe and just be open. I feel like it will happen by itself. Your fear and confusion and wondering and kind of putting a negative spin-ish on it is what's keeping it from happening. So you're kind of getting in your own way a little bit. I hope that makes sense. So again, guys, if what I'm saying is making sense to you, comments down below, please. Okay. Karen says, looking great, Dr. Rita. Thank you, Karen. Hey, Don. He says, I'm here but late. Can I get a number 3? You sure can. But Don, you're not late because I'm just barely halfway through the show, which means you get to get a reading. Number 3. God, we got repeat cards here today. Okay, Don, that's your card for today. Okay, so Don, are you having a bad day too? I feel like you feel like all eyes are on you. I'm feeling like you're feeling maybe a little bit paranoid. So based on what I'm seeing in everybody's readings today, there has to be something going on the planet. I mean, I know that for the last few days, I've just been not real grounded. But if you're not thinking about it, you often assume that it's just you and you're the only one, and that's why the world is seeming so weird. But Don, now that I'm looking at your energy, I'm going to say that it is more, this is the vibration that we are in collectively. And so don't take it personal. Don't be paranoid about it. You're still the same, continuing to move forward. Just notice it, acknowledge it, and have it be okay. And, if you want to be cranky and if you're not having a good day, that's okay. But maybe you'll have a better day tomorrow. And just put the energy out there that I'm just going to take care of myself until I move through this energy. Okay? All right. Let's see. All right. ERRT radio says, what does it mean when I wake up at 4:15 a.m. after I take sleeping medication after 12 midnight? Okay. So most sleeping medication only lasts for 4 hours, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm not really sure about the 4:15. I know that, and I think it's between 3 and 4, that the liver and liver meridian works on detoxing. So that's why you hear about a lot of people waking up at 3. Okay, so I'm just going to be real. It's like, of any topic out there, sleeping and dreams is something that I know really next to nothing about. I don't particularly dream. Up until the last couple of years, I slept like a rock. I'd climb in bed. I'd close my eyes. If I was awake for 20 minutes, I had insomnia. And I would sleep straight through till the next morning. There have been earthquakes. There have been people getting in and out of the bed, turning the lights on, turning the TV on, doing this, doing that, out cold. Just literally out cold. So I don't have any even life experience to draw upon to provide commentary. Okay. So Veronica says, wow, why 3 days? So she's asking about, why do they contact you in 3 days? And it's not that they will contact you in 3 days, like, you pull the cords and then 3 days later. It's usually in the first 3 days. So when my stepson would go see his mom, his bio mom, because that guy I was talking about had custody, and he would come back and he would be a freaking terror, and I would make him sit in the chair and we would do some grounding and I would pull cords from her out and he would calm down, and she inevitably called that night every time, and only on days that I pulled cords. So it doesn't have to be 3 days, but usually it's within 3 days that they will reach out and try to reconnect with you. Hi, Mary. How are you? I'm looking at the clock, and they're okay. So, if you would like to get a reading, please put in the comments a number from 1 to 3, and that's how many times I'll shuffle the cards on your benefit and do the reading part. All right. So, Dawn says, I know full well of people cutting or pulling the cords. It's not a nice feeling, at least not to me. Now, pulling the cords isn't as shocking as cutting the cords. I mean, pulling them, it's just, it's just a little like pop. Cutting, I don't like. So, so if somebody wants to cut the cords, ask them if they'll pull them instead. So Unar says, oh, interesting. My mom's identical twin felt my mom's labor pain when I was born. She passed away 30 years ago tomorrow on my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, and I'm sorry. But that is definitely what communication cords are all about. And identical twins have a ton of them. And then Mary says, love that you're talking about cutting cords. Very important. Thank you, Mary. All right. All right. So, Emil, hi, Emil. I know that you're a new person here today. So I'm just going to jump the gun and pick a number for you. I hope you do come back. And the next time, when you come back, if you would pick a number from 1 to 3, but I'm giving you a 1. You want a 1, so you're going to get a 1. All right, hopefully you want a 1 because that's what you're getting. All right, so Emil, that's your card. So Emil, I feel this energy around you that you are not feeling like you have a whole lot of choices, that there are other people controlling you and controlling your behavior. I feel like you end up feeling like you're being manipulated. I mean, that might not be the word you internalize, but I feel like you end up giving up a lot of yourself in order to get the love, attention, praise, whatever word you want to use there for yourself. And I feel like you are, and this is going to sound terrible, but that you are okay in dealing with the pain that comes with you subjugating yourself to other people. And I know that might be really hard to hear, but maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're here to start working through some of that energy and really coming into yourself and into your own space and your own energy. So I hope that helps, and I hope you come back. Oh, sorry, Emil, I picked for I didn't scroll down that far. Okay, Veronica says, happy birthday, Leo Rita. That should be a mixed drink. Well, you know what, how today's been, I don't even care. Unar says, wow, amazing reading tonight. Thank you. I can relate. Yay. Master Player says, thank you, Rita, for the reading. All right, so Emil, I got you. Pierre, hey Pierre, nice to see you. Veronica says, that's a trade secret, only hairstylists know. No kidding. ERRT Radio says, very interesting and on point. Thank you, Dr. Rita. You're so welcome. Hi, Amy. All right. And then she said, would love a reading. Okay, so Amy, and I'm looking, so by the time I get down to where you might put in a number, I want to make sure that you get your reading. So for today, because you're a new person, I'm just going to go ahead and pick a number for you. And I'm going to pick a number 2. So please forgive me if you do put a number down below. I just am wanting to make sure that you walk away with something today, with the hope that you will come back and join us every week, because we do have a lot of fun here. And you get a free reading. All right, so Amy, that's your card for today. So Amy, it's interesting, and I'm hoping I expressed this correctly. I get the impression that you feel things very deeply. I feel like how do I want to say this? That you keep showing me this image of water, but you keep showing me this image of tranquil water. But when I look at you now, I feel like, and I'm just reiterating or expressing the image you're showing me, that it's like the wind is blowing the water back kind of into your face and taking away your peace and your tranquility. And you're not liking it real well. Um, it's almost like you're being overpowered with energy that's not yours and experiencing some confusion about how to regain that peace, to regain that tranquility. Um, in this moment, and I'm just going to say in this moment, my knee-jerk reaction to what I'm seeing would be the safest and most expedient thing to do would be for you to leave that situation, so that you can re-find your space. Um, so whether you leave that situation in a temporary thing, I want to say, you go to the bathroom, you go to the bedroom, you kind of chill, um, or in a more permanent aspect. A little hard for me to tell based on this. But I feel like the biggest part is for you to be able to sequester yourself and your energy so that you can refine you and make yourself whole so that you can better interact with what's going on around you. I feel like that's the most important piece right here, right now, today. Kelly, hey Kelly. And let's see, so much fun. What cards are you using? What do you see? Number 2, I'm getting my hair done tomorrow. Okay, so these are called dream cards, and so they're not a tarot deck, they're an oracle deck. And actually, I talked about these last week or the week before, and I don't really have enough time to go into a whole dissertation, but they're called dream cards. They're originally designed for dream interpretation, which, if you've been listening, I don't do. But I like them. I like these cards. I swear those cards are always on the bottom of the deck. All right, Kelly, let's see what we got. Yay, a good card, a pretty card, finally. Well, okay. So, Kelly, I get the impression that you just really have been having a new attitude. And so I feel like you've gone to the place that you are really not caring. You keep showing me you're doing Italian hand gestures at people like, hey, screw you, I don't really care. I feel like you are in a place of wholeness and groundedness, and solidity. Now, as we all know, we can be in that place and then something happens and it kicks our butt and we get knocked out of it again. But that's where you are right now. Um, I mean, I just get the impression that you have spent so much of your life being a people pleaser that even having this 5 minutes, but I think it's more than 5 minutes, but like this period where you can just shoo everybody away and not even feel bad about it is a giant victory. And pat yourself on the back and go get your hair done and get a Starbucks on the way, girl. All right, Don says, yes, you are on the spot. Thank you. And then Amy says, might sound strange, but I find getting a MasterCard the most helpful. I see it now. Dang, it was me all along. Yeah, dang, it was me all along. Yeah, Amy, sorry. All right, LPs. All right, so you're a new person, so I'm going to give you a 4 only because I'm being nice and trying not to be cranky. But usually it's just a 1 through 3 LP. So I'm going to be nice because you're new. Different one. Different one. God. All right, LP. All right, and that's your card for today. So LP, you're showing me a really cool, interesting energy. One of the things that you're showing me is that um, there's a part of you that is, I'm going to say, unwinding. I get the impression that you can and do tend to live on a lot of anxious, anxiety type energy. And I feel like that is starting to unwind and you're being able to relax just a little bit more. I feel like when you do things that have a more creative aspect to them, whether it is write or color or do journaling or gardening, but those things that there's a creative piece to it, that it allows you to be much more mindful and relaxed. And it is spurring on this energy for you. So good job and keep up the good work. And I hope to see you again some other time. Unar says, thank you, Dr. Rita. You're welcome. And Veronica says, thank you for that uplifting reading. You're welcome. And then Unar says, where can I find more info on cards? I mean, I've had these cards for forever. I would think, start with Amazon, and they're called the dream cards. I mean, that's what they're called, dream cards. Master Player says, great show and great hair. Thank you, Master Player. And then ERRT Radio says, great show and topic tonight. Thank you, Dr. Rita. You're welcome. Oh, Ohura, she's running late, but not too late. Not too late. Hi, Dr. Rita. Sorry I'm so late. I have a reading. If it's possible, number 2, you can, because you got in the nick of time. Okay. And that's your card for today. Ohura, very interesting energy. I feel like you've had a choice, and I'm going to say recently. I mean, I don't know when you got here, but I've been kind of talking about how I've been cranky. It's just been funky energy, and how you have acknowledged the funky energy, but have managed to kind of stay on the surface and not be really impacted by it. Congratulations. I mean, that can be something that's very hard to do, especially if you're not really paying attention to what's going on. So I just want to validate your ability in this period to hold space, to hold your space, and not be overwhelmed or go into resonance with where things are on the planet right now. So good job. Good job. All right. And then Amy says, thank you, Dr. Rita. Love the topic. Great reading. Always fun. You're so welcome. And then Kelly says, thank you. I talk with my hands for real. Been sober 17 months and just working on my peace and serenity through meditation and Reiki. I've been loving life. So much progress. Yay. Good girl. Oh, core. Okay, not cards, chords. Okay, so there's an article on my page about chords. It probably is not a whole lot more than I talked about here. I mean, I would just do a search online and pray. Using AI, I'm going to be writing some pieces about artificial intelligence. Might be a source for it. I don't know. This is part of my crankiness thing, is about Google and stuff like that. Kelly says, I love the Gaia cards. And then Ohora says, many thanks to you. You are absolutely right. Precise reading. Yay, Ohora. Thank you. And then Don said, good night, great show. Good night, Don. Well, with that, and I actually made it to the bottom of the list and got everybody. If there's stuff going on in your life, if you need some insights into a personal issue, a health issue, if you need some energy work done, if you're ending a relationship, beginning a relationship, in the middle of a relationship, whatever, if you need someone to look at it from an outside point of view, or to just have somebody to talk to and be real with, reach out to me, soulhealer.com. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Till next week.